I get this question 7, 8, 10 times a day. Knox, I have so much Solana in my wallet right now. I'm sitting on a bag of Solana. What should I invest in? What should I buy? Well, here's the thing. I can't really tell you what you should do, but I will tell you what I'm going to be buying over the next 7 days. Nothing. Not one single thing. Because I am so amped up for the launch of the Saiba Gang on October 27th that I am not going to spend not one penny of my money on anything else until that has minted and I have the opportunity to mint and scoop up some awesome stuff on secondary. So why? Why am I so jacked up about the Saiba Gang? I've been talking about this one for a long time. That's what this video is all about. Stick around to the end because there's a special giveaway announcement. Let's go! An idea that was hatched and grew over Twitter. I can't wait to tell you about the Saiba Gang and the amazing journey, the actual story that is about to unfold after Mint Day happens. But before we do that, I have to give you the legal disclaimers, right? Nothing that I say in this video should be construed as financial advice. I'm not a financial professional. I'm just talking to my friends about the things that I am super passionate about. Investing in any asset is risky, and crypto and NFTs are even riskier. So always do your own research and do what's best for you in your situation. All right, so I've already dropped a bit of an announcement right there, right? The Saiba Gang is minting on October 27th. There will be 8,888 of them, and the price, as of today, is set to be 2 SOL. Of course, if Solana fluctuates in price, the team may readjust that. So with that being said, what is the Saiba Gang? Where did it come from? There is someone on Twitter named Zooks. If you actually look him up on Twitter, link right there. You can look at the where to find him. Zooks and I have sort of come up through the ranks together. We've been around a while. We're kind of Solana OGs at this point. And he and I have always been in touch. All the way back when I didn't have a YouTube channel and all the way back when my Twitter account only had like 100 followers, Zooks and I were always in touch and always bouncing ideas off of each other. Well, it turns out he's actually a pretty phenomenal artist with a flair for the anime or manga style. He's a big anime enthusiast, a big manga enthusiast, and he's like, hey, I kind of have this idea. Let me bounce some ideas and some concept artwork off of you. And I was like, whoa, dude, whoa, hang on, whoa, you've got something here. Like, you've got something special. You are talented. So it just kind of grew and grew and grew. Now, good enough for Zooks that he was also in touch with all the right people to actually form a true team and build an NFT project. Now, I've told this before. I've kind of disclaimed this before, but I'm going to say it again. I am on the Saiba Gang team. This was the second team ever where I was like, I'm so blown away by what you have in store. No matter what, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be minting. I'm going to be tweeting. Whatever you want, like, I'm there. But I'm so blown away by what you've got here. Maybe I could help be an advisor and talk about how we could develop the protocol, how we could actually build a story, and how the airdrops will fit in, and all of this cool stuff. And I'm going to talk to you about all that now. But I wanted you to know that I am officially affiliated with this team because I am so excited about it that this is, again, the second team that I've ever reached out to and said, this is amazing. Please, let me be a part of this. So with that being said, let's now actually focus in on what this thing is all about. We've got this idea of gang members. Actually, you know what? It's better that you see it, right? So let's start off the journey here on Twitter. You know I like to start off on Twitter. I like to start my due diligence on Twitter. The thing that should immediately catch your attention whenever you're scoping out a project is the artwork. It should always be the artwork. That's what we're investing in, right? It's the artwork. We want something that we're proud to look at. We're proud to flex. It gives us some form of positive emotional response. Maybe it's something that we have a connection to, or maybe it's something that's just very eye-catching. And immediately, the thing that catches my attention really is, believe it or not, the header that we have here. This immediately feels very Neo Tokyo, doesn't it? It feels like a very futuristic Tokyo, which is kind of the theme we're looking for here, is anime and manga style. It also reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk. If you played Cyberpunk, you know that that game was really awesome, and it's actually my favorite game of all time. But then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I've got a feel for the setting. I kind of know a little bit about the setting now and where this character is going to be. So now take me to the characters themselves, and that's when I actually start thumbing through the media. This is where I can actually get a feel for what is it that they're regularly sharing? What are the pictures that they're sharing? So we start off by looking at the profile picture itself, and I'm like, all right, so blue background really pops. The mask that they have here is kind of cool and interesting. The tattoos or markings are neat, but also the color schemes on the jacket are really cool too at the same time. I think that's really cool. So I'm like, all right, sweet. Let me see more of this. Like, this is the one that they're proud of. Oh, the Kakashi hair, right? That's pretty neat too. So show me more of this. And I'm like, okay, whoa, hang on. This is impressive. You want to zoom in when you see pictures like this. You want to like squint, get close, and actually pay attention to the details. Did you see my tweet yesterday where I was talking about how the jungle cats, like if you ever download the high-res photo and zoom in on the details, like a lot of effort takes place in the creases where nobody actually pays attention unless they're there to appreciate the level of effort that's gone into every single asset that was designed. And when you start squinting and you start looking at this, you start looking at the little fine lines, you start looking at the small dots, you start looking for the textures or the reflections that are in the visor. You start to notice that the handle on the sword, they have different colors. You start to notice on the little collar here, right on the edges of the collar, they kind of have this popped pattern feel to it. The mask itself has a little bit of a radiant glow, and this immediately starts taking my head to a metaverse style situation. If I'm actually like, I see myself, I see my character now running through Neo Tokyo or running through Star Atlas, and all of a sudden these glows, they're actually glowing. And you're like, oh, okay, I could be a part of this environment. I could be a part of this universe, and that's pretty interesting. Now, I'm not going to spoil this for you yet. This is a fascinating thing that we're about to talk about. Again, look at these details. Like, zoom in, pay close attention to the details that have gone on in the jacket. Pay close attention to the details wherever you see a shimmer or a glow. You know, you're thumbing through Twitter, this is going to be something like the background and the pop is something that's going to catch your eye. But when you zoom in on it, when you actually like tap on the profile and zoom in on it, you're going to go, wait, there's something extra here. There's something special. The artist, Zooks in this case, they didn't just throw together some quick attributes. They actually spent a lot of time carefully planning and illustrating all of these attributes. Now, I can attest to this, that Zooks actually did spend a tremendous amount of time zooming in and focusing in on these attributes. We had a lot of conference calls back and forth where he would share his Adobe Illustrator and bring up one layer at a time, and we zoomed in on each one of the layers and talked about like what went into this and why did he do it the way that he did it. And I gotta tell you right now, guys, the things that we're looking at right now are not necessarily rare attributes. In fact, like these are pretty much commons in this world. The rare attributes and the ultra rare, the legendary and epic attributes are things that have not been released yet, and they are mind-blowing. I mean, damn, like they're so cool that I'm having a physical response when I think about this one that he showed me this one time. Anyways, I'll let you see for that for yourself, or maybe he'll tease it out over time. Look at this. I mean, this is kind of like a zombie style, but did you notice like the glow of the crystal on the arm or right around the neck or in the horns themselves? Do you notice the shading that's gone on the teeth? Like, this wasn't something that was just slapped together. Each one of these attributes, and there's a lot, have been very, very, very carefully planned and thought out, and there are reasons that they exist in the way that they do. So the artwork is, to me, as carefully planned out and absolutely superior and top-notch because of the level of effort and the details that have gone into it. And I can't say enough for the talent that Zooks has for putting these all together. I mean, he really he has been working on this for a really really, like, it feels like it's months now at this point that he's finally come together with all of the attributes. And we ran it through the generator. I should say they ran it through the generator, Zooks and the dev team, which is led by Levi and the Exiled Apes. If you saw the tweet, you know that the dev team that's actually running this mint is an experienced dev team that has done this for other projects. So these aren't just some average Joes off the street. These aren't just some free-to-hire contractors. These are people that are in our community and have a vested interest in the success of this project. They want to see the Solana community succeed, and they also believed in the vision that Zooks and the team have brought to the table for the Saiba Gang. So I believe, first of all, that the artwork is second to none. It's fantastic. It's A+, especially if you're into the anime style, the manga style. To answer a question that I know I'm going to get, there will be male and female variants, so that's already in place. And the dev team is an experienced dev team that knows what they're doing. They know the Solana ecosystem. They know how mints work. And I think one of the more important things that I want to stress on, as a little bit of a hint, is that the dev team is doing something a little bit more than the typical dev team. One of the things that's coming up on the Saiba Gang, or at least in the roadmap, is a mechanism for both combining as well as burning NFTs together, because the lore is going to lead the characters there. So we're going to circle back to what this mechanism is all about, because right now it's a perfect opportunity to talk about the actual lore, about what the Saiba Gang is. Imagine a futuristic, sprawling, high-tech, metropolistic city. You've actually kind of seen just a tiny hint of that with that profile header, right? And it kind of gave you that Neo-Tokyo vibe and that feel. Well, this is the actual map of Wintermoon City that's going to be used throughout the story of the Saiba Gang, starting after Mint. Actually, it's already started a little bit before Mint, and we're going to talk about that just a second. The Saiba Gang itself is actually going to be 4 separate gangs. They're going to be 4 separate divisions, is what they're called. And the different cities, or the different boroughs of Wintermoon City, are kind of where the gang occupies and performs their tasks, their missions, their heists, their gang wars, and things like that. Down here, we have Portside. Up here, we have the Night Quarter. Over to the right, we have the Industrial District. And over to the left, we have the Dregs. Now, do you notice, if I kind of change the color here, right dead center, we see this circular object? This is the city center. And the interesting thing about this is Wintermoon City is actually comprised of these 4 Saiba gangs, but also what's called the Kaze Collective. These are effectively the antagonists, the demons who run the city center, and they run it with a guarded wall. So the Saiba Gang members are going to have some sort, the lore is going to take them through basically a competitive landscape, territorial walls, where you can see there are walls separating each of the sections here. They kind of go out like this. But then, in the city center where the Kaze Collective is, that's where the real danger lies. That's where the real threat is. So when we scroll down, it then begs the question, well, what's the story behind the Portside? What's the story behind the Dregs? What's the story behind Night Quarter and the Industrial District? Well, if you scroll down, you find out that the Thieves Guild, basically the Saiba Gang of Thieves, occupy the Portside, and they have a special set of skills. There are masters of stealth and subterfuge, as you hear. There's some more interesting info here, like they're the masters of reading an environment and people, which is kind of an interesting idea. It also makes a lot of sense that thieves would occupy the Portside, because that's where the ships with cargo come in, doesn't it? So we scroll down a little bit more, and we start to look at the Dregs. This is where the thugs are. They are the rebels, but also they fight for what's right. They tend to be physically powerful and high energy, which is, this is the team that I associate with the most. I kind of feel like whenever I'm buying stuff off of secondary, this is the one that I'm going to go for. Maybe it's the way that I was brought up or something. I don't know. But this is kind of an interesting one. You start to develop the personality and a little bit of the backstory about what's going on in the dregs. We scroll down to the industrial district, the engineers. They're the methodical problem solvers, the people with the analytical minds. They try to outdo each other's inventions, sometimes with disastrous results, which is kind of funny. You can kind of see how that's going on. And then the night quarter, these are the players. These are the Saibas who love a good bet. Now, I feel like a lot of the DGen community is going to associate with this because, I mean, that's kind of what the DGens are, right? That's what we do. So this is what goes on in the night quarter. You kind of see, you start to develop the neons and the night lights and the things that would go on after hours, and we start to see how that goes. Now, notice nothing was really mentioned about the Kaze Collective here, and that's kind of the interesting thing. So this kind of sets up a little bit about what the city is going to be laid out like, and in Discord, as well as a little bit on Twitter, they've started dripping out the lore already about how these teams will interact with each other. Now, I'll tell you right now, the team, and especially the people who are writing the lore, they already have a very good feel for what's the goal for the lore for Season 1. We kind of already know where everything is going to end up, but the path that we take to get there might be a bit of an interesting one because we came up with a concept of lore prompts. Check this out. When we jump back to Saiba Gang and we scroll up on the Twitter account just a little bit, just a hair, look at this. You're a thief in the Portside Division. Your life is stealth and subterfuge. Where do you and your division meet to hang out to exchange alpha on targets and plan heists? What is this all about? This is a lore prompt. The thing about the lore prompts is something that's going on right now in Discord is that whoever comes up with the most interesting concept where they can actually say, like, we're going to meet up here and this is what we're going to do, build us the backstory, paint us the picture, and make us believe in it. What you come up with here, whoever wins, that will actually become canon in the actual story of Season 1. This is the idea with lore prompts, is we want the community to help build the picture. We want the community to help build the environment by having stylized contests like this to tell us, what do you think the Portside thieves should be? What do you think their hangout should be like? Now, we know where the story is going to end up. We have a feel for how these things are going to go, but some of these details are actually more interesting to let the community come up with all of this. And again, whoever wins, whoever comes up with this, will actually be cemented in the canon. And beyond that, you get to win a Saiba NFT. Isn't that kind of neat? I like this idea because it's so engaging that the story itself of all of Season 1 is being written by us right now as we go along. But beyond the lore prompt and how cool it is, it's that there's emphasis that's actually put on the lore prompt. Check this out. If you scroll up just a hair, it says, hey, our lore prompts give the community the opportunity to design the universe itself. Check this out, though. We'll be airdropping a picture of the hideout that's decided upon after mint to all Portside Saibas. So that's kind of a cool, just a little twist, a little extra thing that they're doing to throw in the fact that we appreciate your how you're actually participating in the community and building this universe, and we want to reward our entire community for just being a part of it. But take it a step further. What is actually going to be happening throughout Season 1? Well, I don't want to spoil too much, but I can tell you a tremendous amount of effort has gone into planning what's happening in Season 1. In fact, I would actually argue that the majority of hours that have been spent on the Saiba Gang so far have been prepping for what happens after Mint Day. There's a story. It's an actual story. Your character will be a part of this story. Your NFTs will be a part of this story. And as they progress through the story, there will be mechanics that are introduced into the Saiba Gang that impact how the story goes. For instance, there will be airdrops that may impact your Saiba's ability to perform certain tasks or do certain things. There may be airdrops that could completely change your character. I mean, completely. You know, and that's kind of one of the interesting things about this is the mechanics that are coming up that are actually being developed for the Saiba Gang by this dev team are things that have never really been done before, at least not on Solana. So when this comes up. When the team achieves this, I think this is so cool. This is one of my favorite things. When the team actually successfully launches some of these mechanics that are done before, they're then going to open source the code, because that's what's going to bolster Solana as a whole. These new ideas, these new mechanics that no one has ever done before, it's not one of those things that the team just wants to hold it to themselves and say, this is our competitive advantage. We're going to deploy it and make sure it works. And then after that, if you have an idea that could reuse this code, but in a completely different world, and it just fits your metaverse very well or something like that, go for it. I think that's one of the coolest things that, goes untouched on a lot, is the fact that this team, again, like I said at the very beginning, the entire team itself cares about Solana as an ecosystem and not just the Saiba Gang. So any innovations that come out of Saiba Gang are going to be open sourced. Come on. Like, that's huge. That's amazing. So to me, when we start to look at the big picture here, and we start to look at everything that the Saiba Gang has going on for it, first of all, amazing artwork. Very detailed artwork that a lot of love and passion has gone into. Second of all, an unbelievably cool story. I mean, a really cool story with this idea of divisions. Oh, there's going to be division leaders, by the way. When we mint the 8,888, 4 of you will be lucky enough to mint an actual division leader, a one-of-one custom NFT that's going to be the leader of that division. So the divisions, there's going to be 4 unique divisions that all have kind of competing interests that are also driven and molded by the environments that they grew up in. But they also have one thing in common, and that's that the Kaze Collective that sits in the center of the city is the real threat here. And then we've got these lore prompts where you, the community member, can actually help design the entire universe. And based on that, airdrops and artwork will come out of it that I think is so incredibly interesting. And it kind of manipulates the way that the universe all comes together. But then it's all being driven by a team that's come up through the ranks of Solana. They've been here from the early days, and they have really unique and interesting ideas. But the cool thing about it is they realize that Solana is better off when we all kind of work together. So once these ideas are deployed and implemented, there's going to be open sourcing of that code so that other projects can use it too. To me, this is beyond a slam dunk, because the big thing about a project, very often, you can pretty easily weed out projects that are cash grabs, low effort cash grabs, where they don't really care about anything. They just have like a cute PFP, and they're here to get some money, and then hopefully the community pumps it, but if not, whatever, we got our mint money, and we're out of here. You should be able to weed those out by now, because there's a ton of them. But then you see projects like this that really want to build a brand. They really want to build an identity. And Mint Day is just one of the things that you have to get through in order to get to the big picture. This is something that wants to exist for many, many, many seasons and many, many, many years to come, and believes in giving power back to the community through the form of designing your own lore and then rewarding that with airdrops and story and adventure, but also airdropping open source code to the Solana community for other developers to use. We really believe that this type of environment is going to be so beneficial for the rest of the entire Solana ecosystem. So the Saiba Gang is one that I am just extraordinarily excited about, mainly because I know where Season 1 goes, the story that you're going to be on, and it's going to be so captivating and engaging and fun that I'm just really, really excited about. Plus, I've also seen the artwork, and I know how ridiculously cool some of those advanced and rare attributes are. They're just so fire. So, the giveaway. All right, so what I want to say here is there are 61 pesky penguins in existence. They're the aliens. And what we want to do is, to thank you for watching this video and being interested in Saiba Gang. Of course, there was a tweet that needed to be retweeted. Follow Saiba Gang on Twitter, join their Discord. And then, now that you've watched this video and made it to the very end, let me know in the comments what thing about the Saiba Gang are you most interested in? Or also let me know what division you hope to be a part of. Do you want to be in Portside, Dreg, the Industrial District, or the Night Quarter? I don't know. I think for me, it's going to be the Dreg. So comment below and let me know. This is the Saiba Gang, and again, this is the one that I am just going to sit on my hands and wait until next Wednesday, and then I'm going crazy. All right, y'all. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.